Hello and welcome to the 2021 Choir and Theater Awards. My apologies for not communicating that this was going to be changed from a live Zoom to a video. For those of you who don't know, and I'll just get this out of the way at the beginning, I'm not teaching right now. I'm on leave just to get my head right and to seek some help for some things. I should be back in the fall, but I wanted to make sure that the awards did not get overlooked because it's a fun kind of thing to do at the end of the year and recognize some of the effort that has been put forth by all of our amazing singers and actors and dancers this year and everyone else who worked in the background, because there's a whole heck of a lot of that. So this video will just serve to announce who the winner of those things are, be kind of like a mini celebration of the seniors from me. And yeah, I've already tried to record this once and it didn't go well. So let's try it this time. Let me share my screen and we'll get going. Alrighty, so this is our TJ Choir and Theater Awards for 2021. First off, we're going to start with concert choir. So our most inspirational concert choir member this year goes to Morning Large. This might be the second year in a row that Morning has won this award. I'm not entirely sure. There's just something about her energy that when she is excited about getting something done, she makes everyone else excited about getting it done too. So Morning, congratulations. Best musician goes to Payson Noble. For those of you who don't know, Payson actually takes voice lessons. So this makes sense to me. And he often at the end of class, maybe it was the beginning of class, especially third quarter, he would just play a random song and like sing for us, like just the whole class. Like no one would ask him to. He would just turn on a song and sing. And we would stop and just listen to him because he was great. So Payson, you've earned that, buddy. Best musician. Most expressive is Leia. I think that's absolutely 100% the correct choice for the class to have made. I don't know anyone else who is able to shove more expression into their singing than Leia. And I can't imagine that that's going to do anything but get better over the years. So most expressive goes to Leia. Most on task, which may seem like a kind of a funny award to give, but in choir, it's a good one because choir people tend to not be on task because we like talking and chatting and just hanging out. So it's good to reward people who are on task. So for concert choir, it is, of course, our Kylie Donovan. Always making sure she knows what we were doing, always making sure she's asking for tips from me about singing or about auditioning, whatever it is. She was just on it all the time this year. So I agree with the students' vote on that one too. Best at making everyone smile, and that went to Esmeralda, which is really actually pretty great because she just started choir the second half of the year, and she made a really great impression on everyone. And Esmeralda just definitely felt like part of the choir family as soon as she joined us. So congratulations, you made everyone smile. Humble Diva goes to Jasmine Fisher. Now, if you don't know the origins of this award, last year, I think it came from when we went to Todd Beamer to sing for them and like do a choir exchange. One of our members called Salem suddenly started singing loud and proud and wonderfully. And we had never heard her sing that loud. So that happened about halfway through the year, and then we could like reliably tell her like, no, you need to pull your diva voice out because we need that power. So a humble diva is a good thing to be. That means you have extra power that other people may not know about that you can whip out when you need it. And Jasmine, apparently the kids are saying you got it. So let me hear it. I look forward to having you again next year because we got to get the humble out of that diva. Most improved is going to Elizabeth Glenn. Oh, I just realized that I think I spelled her name wrong because it's an S, isn't it? That's my bad. I'm so sorry. Elizabeth, I don't think had much musically to improve. If I'm being honest, she was already a stellar musician. She knew how to like hook into melodies and harmonies really well. She was a super reliable alto all year long. What I do think that perhaps people voted her most improved for was that she kind of came out of her shell by the end of the year, and she was, participating in the silly conversations, but also auditioning for and getting the big solo in Wellerman's Tale along with Leia. So I think that maybe most improved means most like improved as far as courage or risk taking is concerned. I'm not entirely sure, but I will take any improvement for Elizabeth because Elizabeth's already great. So can only get better from here. Future section leader. So these are people, and this was anyone who got a vote, because everyone got multiple votes who's on this list, is up here. And these are people who you should think about either moving up to chamber choir, or you should think about a leadership position in concert choir next year. So May Ward, Morning Large, Laura Guerrero, Elizabeth Glenn, Elizabeth Cahay, and Holly Marie Aho. Please think about sticking with choir. And this was kind of a random one that I said, is there any other award that we should give? And a few people suggested something similar to this: most active in class, which means they were participating every day. Their camera was on most days. They were chatting. They would not only chat in the chat box, but they would unmute and talk out loud. And that, of course, is to May. So that moves us on to our seniors. So we only have one senior in concert choir, and I'm just going to quickly read this because I wrote this about Kylie. Kind, funny, easygoing, always willing to jump into conversation. I wish I had you in class more than just a year, Kylie. You always asked for tips on how to improve vocal technique and took really wonderful risks by auditioning for things this year. Thank you. So we're going to miss you a lot, Kylie. Thanks for being in concert choir this year. And this is all the underclassmen in concert choir, and I better see your name on a list for one of my classes next year because you're all great and I don't want to lose you. I'm looking especially at the freshmen who I have not even necessarily seen in person yet. Oh, what's the biggest voice that I feel like I haven't? Sky, I feel like I've heard you sing more than I've heard you speak. Because I've looked at all your videos, but you were a little bit shy in class. I'd love to meet you in person in the fall. And Christelle as well, although you were in the background of some of Alan's videos. Yeah, just all the freshmen who I didn't get to know in person. I can't wait to get to know you in person next year. And all of the people who I already knew, I can't wait to give you a fist bump or a side hug or whatever is school appropriate for your desired affection. And I just realized that I spelled May Ma. So my bad on this screen. Remember, I'm on leave, so I'm not at my full capacity. Here we go. This is your chamber choir awards. And first up, of course, is most inspirational, and that goes to Santorini. And we don't even need to explain why. Santorini does a thing. It inspires everybody. Best musician. This obviously goes to Zari, who not only is a published musician on Spotify, like go check her out, Zari Alexandria on Spotify, but she's going to go do wonderful things with music after high school, and she's probably going to be famous in a few years, or she'll be one of those cool people who gets like all the work, like maybe she's writing soundtracks for indie movies and that kind of stuff, but no one knows her. So she, like on the street, she'll be like, you know, she'll be able to walk to 7-Eleven without getting bothered, but then she's also getting the money and the awards. You know what I mean? Like that's what Zari's going to end up doing. Maybe she could choose between either or, outwardly famous or just making bank all the time with her music skills, because she really is quite the writer. So best musician goes to Zari. Most expressive, of course, goes to Santorini. I don't know that I've seen anyone be able to transform their face so beautifully into what the music is trying to portray. Santorini is just a very skilled singer. Most on task in rehearsals goes to the daughter of a teacher. How surprising is that? But Anthea was always making sure when we broke out into breakout rooms that she knew what we were supposed to be doing. She always stayed on top of me as far as due dates and getting things in. So this makes total sense to me. On task in rehearsal goes to Anthea. Best at making everyone smile goes to Priscilla. I think it says a lot about someone when the thing that like a group of people collectively recognize you for is that you bring joy to other people, Priscilla. And I can't think of a better way of honoring the way that you interacted with us this year. I mean, you went through stuff, you know, we all know it, but and this year has been awful, but you were there with Peppa Pig in the background, just wanting to make sure that the class sees you, the class hears you, the class, you know, saw that you were being there. You even brought some family members to like a choir hangout one time, which is really cool. Priscilla's always checking in with other people to see how they're doing, regardless of how she's doing. So it makes sense to me that she got this wonderful award for making other people smile. The humble diva in this class is Anissa. If you haven't heard Anissa's voice, you should. And it sounds like enough of you do because you all voted her humble diva. But like the most amazing, wonderful, beautiful pop tone. She could be on the radio right now. Easy. No, like she's better than Bella Porch. Bella Porch can't hold a candle to Anissa. So I'm just saying, if you ever want to hear some really lovely pop vocals, go to Anissa. She's stunning. Most improved would be Joseph, who has also been going to voice lessons this past year. He's been going, sorry for my bending down, I gotta pick something up. He's been going to voice lessons with Brian Sushek, who is the music director for our musicals on campus. And he's been like cruising, learning lots about his incredibly big baritone voice. And it's clear because he sounds more and more like a classically trained singer. So yeah, Joseph, you definitely deserve most improved in chamber choir. And for the chamber choir seniors, I'm going to stay on script so I don't cry. So here you go. By the way, there are other seniors in chamber choir. These three are just the only ones that were not also in theater. So the seniors that are also in theater, I'm going to talk about after the theater awards. Okay. So Allie, your messages to me this year have quite literally helped me remember why I love teaching. You have been an incredibly important member of the choir family here for 2 years, and I admire your ability to be so openly kind to those around you. Thank you, Allie. Priscilla, you and Allie were the choir moms in concert last year, and now you're the choir mom in chamber this year, making sure people laugh and get a smile and feel comfortable in our class. I admire your friendliness and your ability to make people feel at home. Thank you, Priscilla. Santorini, you are quite possibly the most watchable student I have ever met. Constantly alert and expressive in your face, inquisitive with your words, and expressive with your dance and singing and acting. And somehow you manage to be humble and sweet at the same time. I'm going to miss all three of you wonderful seniors. And these are our underclassmen. I better see your name on the list for next year. And at least for one of my classes. And I just can't wait to see you guys grow up into juniors and seniors and sophomores yourself. So Baron, Danica, Lana, Keelani, Joseph, Drake, Isabel, Isaac, JJ, Crystal, Anissa, and Caitlin. Thank you all for being in choir. And a special award before we move on to theater awards, because people just need to know. Drake is his own award. Like, I'm going to call this the Drake Award. And it might not exist in any other year. I don't really know. But Drake and his family decided that this year was not going to be a year where they missed opportunities, that this year was going to be a year that they got extra opportunities. And I don't know how they had the energy to do it. But somehow Drake auditioned for, got into, and recorded a virtual, I think it was a musical or a play with Village. Was it Village or Seattle Children's? I can't quite remember. Again, I'm on leave, so my brain's dumb. But he not only did that, but he also auditioned for, got into, and participated in the All Northwest Choir for Washington State. I didn't really help them with that at all. I didn't help them with either one of those things. They just have an incredibly supportive family and an incredibly talented student in Drake who they didn't want to miss a year of opportunities. And I can't say enough in admiration for that family and for their support of Drake. So Drake, obviously you're an all-star. We knew that. But I want to make sure that your parents hear how amazing they are for supporting you through all of that stuff. So thank you to the Hedrick family. We appreciate you. And hopefully we get to be with Drake, exploiting his talents more on campus next year. Here we go. Musical Theater Awards. This is for the theater class. So most inspirational freshman or sophomore, of course, it's Drake. For all the reasons that I just stated. Incredibly talented, humble, takes lessons, takes classes, looks for his own opportunities. Yeah, that's Drake. Most inspirational. Just so you know, he also won this award last year. Most inspirational junior or senior this year goes to Sarah Larson. And oh gosh, did I spell that wrong? I spent this whole time trying to make sure that I didn't spell Larson wrong, and I think I spelled it differently on a couple different slides. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, you love me, it's fine. Yeah, Sarah is quite possibly one of the most inspirational people because she just doesn't stop. When she decides to do a thing, she does the thing. I put a bug in Zari's ear about a musical last year, like last year, like spring of 2020, and Zari passed that whisper on to Sarah, and Sarah made it happen like in months. She took Zari's material and mushed it together with her own writing, and it was just stellar. So yeah, Sarah is inspirational because you know that when she starts something, she's going to finish it and it's going to be awesome. So congratulations, Sarah. Dancing monarch instead of queen, or king or non-binary. It's just monarch. Here we go. Abigail, what a surprise. I remember, I think this was you, Mr. Weed talking about how excited he was about a new trumpet player at the end of last year. And I was so excited for him. And now we have a problem because I want you all to myself because you're excellent. You're so good. You're so good at acting. You're so good at dancing. I'm not entirely sure if I've heard you sing. No, I did. I've seen you do all the things. Excellent. Also, you have my maiden last name, so that's funny. But Abigail made sure to dance whenever she could. And I feel like half the time in her background, she had ballet flats. So this makes sense to me. If there was someone who's going to take over as dance captain next year, if Abigail has the time, she would probably be one of the top candidates for that. So Abigail's coming for you. The High C Award is a singing award, which basically just means like someone who has really aspirational musical theater voice stuff. It could be that they're very expressive. It could be that they really have a good range, like a high C for sopranos and tenors and that kind of stuff. It could just be that they sing all the time and they're very confident. But this year there was a straight up three-way tie. So this three-way tie goes between Zari, Alan, and Janie. Zari, obviously, because not only is she singing music when she sings, but she's often also creating and writing music. And even when she's just interpreting music that other people have sung, even when she's just performing it, her facial expressions really do belie her dedication to the text. She's really a wonderful performer. Alan is not only an amazing singer, but he's also an amazing actor. And I feel like those IE skills in speech and debate really come through when you're singing a solo piece, because it's hard to figure out what to do with your hands, what to do with your facial expressions when you're just singing. And Alan has all of those little tips and tricks down. He knows exactly what to be doing with all his with his entire presence while performing. And Alan has an amazing range. I think he was cast last year as a baritone, even though he's like maybe a super high tenor. So yeah, that makes sense to me. And Janie Smith, well, of course she won the High C Award because last year when she sang in the showcase, the song from The Waitress, she made me cry. She made me cry like every time she sang it. And I'm pretty sure if I thought about it too hard right now, it would still make me cry, just a memory of it. So Zari, Alan, and Janie, all very well earned High C Award. Best actor for the reasons I just named. Alan, you put in the work, you work often, and it shows. Most improved, Alika. I don't even really know if it's so much that you've improved so much as you've gotten a bigger platform on which to show people what you can do. Because your role in Quarantine It Takes Two was stellar. It was so good. It was so good. And there are teachers I know that watched it and said, I had no idea that Alika had that in her. Yeah, that's going to be something that you, like a feather that you can put in your cap for all of time, that you were an amazing mentally ill character in that musical. It was so good. Backstage hero is someone who does work that helps improve the program that maybe the audience doesn't necessarily know about. So they do things that aren't necessarily the first thing seen on stage. And of course, it's going to go to Sarah Larson and Max Singh this year. Both of them took on big editing roles. Max took on a big editing role last spring. And they've sacrificed a lot of extra time. And I know that it's been a difficult year for them to balance how to enjoy the class versus how to deal with the anxiety of editing stuff. So I can't say enough how much Sarah and Max have helped me out this year as leaders in the program. So absolutely, winners of Backstage Hero 100%. Class comedian, and of course it's JJ. Even though JJ, like, even though we all talked to each other so little this year, JJ was still the comedian. I don't know how. It's just his presence. And like every once in a while when he does turn on his camera, it's just the most pure, wonderful stuff. Like it's a sandwich, or it's a pet, or it's him reciting some cheerful and wonderful non sequitur. It's just JJ is the class comedian. If he isn't class comedian next year, I'll be very surprised, because it's just a natural role for him. Future director, this year it's a two-way tie between Sam and Sarah. Sam and Sarah both did a lot of directing this year, and they actually worked together. So yeah, this makes sense to me. Good pick, students. Sam and Sarah both display lots of leadership abilities and a lot of creativity and willingness to work with someone on how to express things. So yeah, future director is both. Future choreographer goes to, of course, it's Abigail. In fact, part of why I would be really excited for you to stay in theater next year is so that you could actually work on a big old stage that deserves dancing. So just keep that in mind. Future vocalist, and this means someone who's probably going to go into vocal music in some capacity after high school. And of course it's Zari. Boom, done. No discussion needed. Real pro means someone who puts in the background work, someone who does all of the just does the work to make the little strides that make something better. So last year was M. McIntyre, because she like read a book on a historical novel about a female servant like the one that she had been cast as. So doing the behind the scenes stuff to make sure that your performance is really good. And this, of course, Alan. Script work, making sure you know exactly what's in your script, making sure you know the context of what you're doing, and then expressing it. Yeah, that makes sense. Real pro goes to Alan. Triple threat, which means dancing, singing, and acting, is a two-way tie this year, and it goes to Drake and Cecilia. Congratulations, you two. I know it was kind of hard to choose a triple threat when like the majority of people were not really dancing that much. But apparently these people prove themselves to you. So Drake and Cecilia, both of whom are very wonderful, sassy students who I love dearly. And you will be able to see both of them in the showcase. Cast counselor. Now, I don't necessarily condone teenagers counseling each other about everything, but I do know that it happens regardless of whether or not us adults condone it. And that sometimes it can be a really positive thing to have someone in the cast that you know can just be a comforting person for everybody. And that person is May. May has been voted cast counselor this year. The up-and-comer, that means someone who is going to be very possibly wowing us next year with their skill or their ambition. And this goes to Cameron and Keelani for next year. Which, by the way, Cameron wasn't even in third quarter, and yet somehow she's in the showcase because she's that determined. And Keelani has been an absolute delight for me this year. She's just so deeply involved with whatever project she gets into that she could probably do like a TED talk about every major thing that she's done, because she just gets so excited about things, and she tries to understand a whole thing and not just part of it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, both Cameron and Keelani, definitely up and comers. Broadway bound means in some way, somehow they're going to be on stage. And that is, of course, Alan. Yep, we've confirmed it. It's Alan. You better do it. So I just started this tradition last year because last year was my first spring here. And last year I gave a vocal program award, which is a program. It's an award for anyone who's either in choir or theater or in both, given to a student who's made deep and meaningful contributions to the success and growth of one or both programs. And I cannot be happier to announce, and I can't believe that anybody would be surprised to hear that this year it goes to Sarah. And I think I spelled your name right there. Thank goodness. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know that musical theater would have been that great this year without Sarah. I am new to teaching theater. Last year, I was just dipping my toes in for the first time. And with a huge crew of people around me, I was able to make it work for the time that we were together. And this year, I was kind of out set to sail by myself because all of our other, adult helpers and volunteers and theater staff, they're off doing their own jobs during the day. And everyone is more stressed this year. So I didn't feel like I could lean on those adults very much. But before I could even ask for help or really realize that I needed help figuring out the curriculum and how we're going to do our performances this year, Sarah just handed me 2 major projects. I mean, it was definitely a class process for the first half of the year for the showcase. And, we split up into different groups and people worked on different things, but Sarah and Zari came together and made that musical happen. And that might be one of the proudest moments of my teaching career. And I don't feel like I really had much to do with it. I'm genuinely just proud of the kids who are in it. And then when I thought, okay, well, the kids have done everything for the first half of the year, I'm going to have to kick my butt into gear and really figure out how I could edit an entire showcase. I'm going to be honest with you, those choir videos tapped me. Learning how to do that by itself, let alone edit together scenes and cutting things and all that kind of stuff, it almost blew me. It almost blew my mind. And before I could even start to worry, really, Sarah stayed after class one day or came to an office time one day with Zari and said, we have an idea. And the idea is is it In the Closet or the Closet Project? I can't quite remember. I know it has the word closet in it for our showcase on the 19th. And she just took over. She and the other writing staff, which included Max and Zari and Caitlin, and I can't remember if there was another writer. My apologies if there was. They threw this idea around and then they coordinated. Caitlin was like the secretary and took notes on everything, and they figured out what shows they were going to feature. They figured out what shows they were going to pull clips from the theater, and they figured out that they were going to kind of, theme it around saying goodbye to the little theater and tea. And it was just, I would not have been able to do my job, I think, if it hadn't have been for Sarah. And the majority of fourth quarter, at the end of every day, Sarah would just hang back and ask me like a handful of questions because she was genuinely doing the work of putting together, editing a huge show. In fact, she's doing the work now. She was just sending me messages earlier today about like finishing it up. So I don't know that I could have asked for a kinder, more giving, more incredibly creative and intelligent person to give this to this year. And that is acknowledging that she had help. And there were plenty of other people who did wonderful things for the showcase. I'm definitely not minimizing that, but Sarah feels like the linchpin for this year. I mean, she's the thing around which this curriculum this year has wound. She's making it happen, and I can't express my thanks for that enough. Yeah. Probably the coolest thing is that she is not just trying to make, and this is the last thing I'll say because I'm getting teary and I still have to talk about the seniors. Sarah is behaving in a way that teachers do at the end of the year, which is why I know that she's put in the work, because she is looking at her classmates, not like classmates, but also like people who are in a show with her, a production with her all year. She's trying to make sure that they feel loved and included, and that she thanks them for the work that they did. And I just can't see anything better than giving an award to someone who is always looking for opportunities to award and thank other people. So Sarah Larson, next fall, when I get my crap together and finally get you and Mackenzie, because she won this last year and we're still in a pandemic, when I get my stuff together, I'm going to figure out some physical version of the award that you guys can keep. And maybe you guys should help get to choose what that would be. Because this is going to be a yearly thing and you are year 2. So thank you, Sarah. Okay, so for the next couple sections, I asked questions on the questionnaire that basically were like, share your shout outs and share your favorite moments. And if I'm going to be honest, I can't read these out loud without crying. So what I'm going to do is I crammed them all onto the screen, and it's obnoxious. It's like, it's really small text. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a couple of screens in a row, and I'm going to give you about 5 seconds where you can pause the video and just, like, if you can, scroll in and read and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to give you about 10 seconds here to try and read through these anonymously submitted shout outs. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to the next section, which is favorite memories. Again, I can't read these because I will cry, but I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to either pause the video or screenshot or whatever you want to do so that you can read them. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And seniors for theater. So this, I don't know how I'm going to do this. The choir seniors almost made me cry already. So what I've done on the next few screens for all of our seniors in theater is I have collected the senior reflections from that form. There was an awards form that had like all the different categories. And then there was a seniors form that was really just to put a couple of memories about each senior. And I don't think most people understood what that form was for. So there's not tons of answers in it, but what I've done is for each senior, I've put the answers that were given, and then I'll just briefly talk about each senior before I get verklempt, and then I'll move on. So here we go. Anthea, I think that one of my greatest regrets from last year is that we never got to see the quartet on stage, because I think you have an amazing, incredible, really big voice that is still growing, and I would really love to hear it in its full glory someday. You have also been incredibly helpful to me, and not just like in one setting, but I feel like I've asked you questions about how TJ works. Like, you've been one of the many TJ ambassadors for me over this last year and a half while I was getting kind of used to my job here. So Anthea, you have been an amazing part of my welcome party. And don't be a stranger, because I want to hear your voice as it gets big. Colton, I didn't get to know you very well. Apparently you're funny and friendly. I know that you were very charming with a few times that I did get to speak to you, but Colton was one of those students who this year was really hard for. So we didn't get to see him in class very often because he was working. So I just wanted to throw that out there, Colton, that even though we didn't get to see you very often and you were only in the class for a semester, we do still love you, and we think that you're very funny and friendly. Ashanti, I remember watching you in Children of Eden and just thinking like, oh yeah, this is where I want to teach. This is where I want to teach, where people like Ashanti with big smiles can dance wonderfully on stage. And it was one of many moments that I have had over the last 2 years that confirmed to me either before I got the job that I wanted the job, or that, yes, this is the right place for me. And Ashanti, you have been one of those things. First thing, that was the first thought that I had when I saw you in the musical, is like, oh yes, I want to work here. And then, you know, the talks that you and I had a couple times after theater when you were waiting for rides, I'm going to miss kind of just being around you and having those chats. So I just make sure that you stick around and come visit. I know that your sister's still going to be on campus. So come see us, be in alumni shows, and yeah. Sam, oh my gosh, Sam and I somehow are the same human being. I don't know how. We are very different human beings, obviously. But if you ask us about a lot of our like personality traits or like likes and dislikes, somehow Sam and I are the same person. I don't know how that happened. It's a glitch in the matrix. But Sam, you know what I'm going to say to you, Sam? I'm going to say that I hope that you take time to breathe. Because since we're the same person, I have a feeling that you're going to get anxious and frustrated in college because you want to be doing all the things and you want to be, you know, nailing it and doing everything perfectly. You can't stop it. You are already excellent. You can breathe, Sam. You can sing, you can dance, you can act. And if you ever want to improve any of those things, all you have to do is continue to practice the way you have been. The first thing I said to you after watching Children of Eden, I thought you were a senior. I walked up to you after the show and I fully thought you were a senior. So I thought I was just saying something to a senior and that I would never see again. And I'm pretty sure I confused you because you looked concerned, but I walked up to you aggressively after Children of Eden. And I think I saw it on opening night. And I said, hey, I don't know what you're doing in college, but you better make sure that it's still this, because you were excellent. So I just want to, I guess, continue to gift you that aggressive positivity. You're going to be fine. You're going to be great. You're going to be wonderful, and you can breathe. I've already talked about you a little bit, Sarah, and I hope that this spelling of your name is correct. Dear Lord. So all I'm going to say is that you are not allowed to be a stranger. I know you're not going to be, but also know that you're not allowed to be. And if you ever write anything again with Zari, and maybe I'll say this again with Zari, if either one of you together or separately wants to write something for a showcase, just let me know. We'll put it together. If you want to start writing dialogues and monologues just to kind of stretch your writing arms, do it. Do it. We'll do them. As long as they're school appropriate, yes. Because you are talented and we want to help continue to grow your skill. And why not use our current high schoolers as workshop for our alumni? Because your talent is too awesome to just leave it in a computer file in a workbook somewhere. Let people do your work. Okay. Janie, I can't. Janie wrote me the sweetest note. And she sent me a graduation letter, and I do have to say that it was quite possibly one of the most touching things, because she mentioned, you know, wanting to get a picture with me and some other things that I won't necessarily share, but I like the wanting to get a picture with me thing struck me because I realized that my own high school choir teacher, who I love dearly and think of as like, she was like a mom to me in high school, and she's gone now. I don't have a picture with her either. And I have no idea how, like, how could someone who has so much influence on your life not be like in a picture with you somewhere? It's kind of weird. So yes, Janie, I absolutely would love to have a picture with the first student that made me cry with a performance at TJ. Like, hands down. If you ever perform that waitress song for anything else, you better text me and let me know, because I'd love to have like said my my choir theater energy to you, because I'm so pleased with how beautifully you have grown over these last 2 years, since like kind of taking on maybe the possibility that you can do more on stage. Your part in It Takes Two was incredible. You and Cameron just played so beautifully off of each other. And you're just great. You're just great. So we'll have to schedule a time to take a picture. Alan definitely put in the work this year, and you can tell because he would leave breakout rooms where he was supposed to be helping other people and come to the main room and ask me for help, which is awesome and hilarious and makes me laugh, because I know that he knows that he's good at what he does, but he also is constantly looking for how to get better. And yeah, Alan, you're going to kick butt in college. You know what though? You might need a little bit of what I told Sam, which is you can breathe. You're going to be okay. You don't have to always be doing all of the things. If 2020, if the pandemic has taught all of us anything, it's that you should take some time to not be pursuing excellence all the time. So when you have the time to, in between performances in college, breathe, take a nap, get a massage, take care of yourself, because you're already pretty darn stellar. You don't have to work that hard. And Zari, I'm pretty sure Zari. Yeah. Zari is quite possibly the coolest person I've ever met. And I don't say that as an insult to any of the other cool people I've met. That's just how freaking cool Zari is. She writes her own music. She basically wrote her own musical with Sarah. She, I feel like, ran the school at least partially for the last few years. The song that you wrote last year for MLK Day, actually, I'm not sure if you wrote it for that, but you performed it there. It was a song that had the same first and last line. I hope you know what I'm talking about. And it just breaks it. Like the first time I heard it, I cried. And then when I heard it again, I cried. So I guess if you're watching this, you're starting to get a pattern that I cry a lot. I don't cry a lot. I mean, I do cry a lot, but you know, it's recognition of excellence sometimes that makes a teacher cry. And that is definitely the case here with Zari. I know I'm going to see you either in person at a coffee shop or on TV. So I guess my number one advice is just to keep being you. Don't let people try and change you so much that you stop recognizing what makes you a special musician. You know, take advice, listen critically, even try new things out that you're unsure of when you start, making music and that kind of stuff. But don't let yourself get so wrapped up in what other people want from you that you forget who you are. That's the only thing I think that could ever derail you, because you're so talented. You're so stellar. How could anything else bad happen to your career? I feel like the only thing that can really derail you earnestly is for you to forget who you are. And there's no way you're going to do that. Oh my gosh, did I just Lion King you? I just weirdly Mufasa to you. And I said, don't forget who you are. So there you go. Don't forget who you are. Remember who you are. Remember where you come from. And that's the TJ Music Department. And we love you and we support you. And we expect you to report back with fun and interesting things that you're doing with your life. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the logistics. Make sure that you're doing things that you enjoy and that still represent you. So I don't know how this turned into a talk show and advice for seniors, but it did. And my brain is dead. And this is a really long video. And I just wanted to take some time to do this because I am very sad that I'm not able to kind of close out the end of the year with the students. I'm going to be honest. My favorite time of year is the end of the year with students, because it's basically just, let's talk about our feelings and cry. And that's a lot of me. So in order to wrap this up, I just wanted to remind you that the Secret Garden did have a poster. Katie made it last year, and They are printed, but because of the move and everything, it's just weird. So just know that I will have a stack of the Secret Garden musical posters in my office next year. And whenever you drop by, because you have to drop by, seniors, whenever you drop by, you can pick yours up. Okay. So don't fret about getting it now. It's lost in piles. Take a look at the screen, be in awe of it again, and we'll make them available to you guys next year. Okay. And finally, just on, I guess kind of the same track as my own mental health, this is my message for you as we close out the year, that this past year has been extremely difficult for some people. It's been difficult for everybody, but it has affected people differently. And I just want to tell you these 3 lines here at the top. Ask for help when you need it. Ask for help when you need it. That doesn't mean you'll get it every time you ask for it, but if you ask for help because you need it, moving on to the second line here, if you don't get the help you need, ask again or ask someone new. It's not just like with math homework, that when I'm talking about like big life stuff, ask for help. And if you don't get the help you need, that doesn't mean you don't really need the help. That means that you should dignify your need with pursuing the assistance you deserve. And then just the third line here, we can't be a thriving community without each of us thriving. It's not a thriving theater community if we're all crippled by self-doubt and mental health issues. It's not a thriving choir community if we're all so depressed. You know what I mean? Like, each person has to figure out what their version of thriving is. And for some of us, it's just going to require having kind of a summer to breathe more deeply and then going hopefully back into a more normal routine in the fall. For a lot of us, that will be it. That's all we need. For some of us, it'll mean counseling. For some of us, it'll mean waiting until we have the time and money and spoons to get counseling. But take some time this summer to self-reflect and figure out if you need something else. And if you need something else, ask for it. If you're in crisis, and this is a non-emergency crisis, so this is like no one is going to die right now. But if you are in a crisis of some sort, call this hotline. This is specifically to King County. So this is for people who are in our area. And obviously, if someone is under physical danger, call 911. But the big message is ask for help when you need it. Don't wait. Get it now. So that is it. Thank you to my choir and theater communities, not just the students, but the parents. Thank you so much, parents, for supporting your kids this year and for supporting me in the program last year before Corona kicked in. This fall, we are going to walk into a brand new, beautiful building, not only with new classrooms. By the way, there's a drama room now. Weird. But like a brand new, beautiful performing arts theater. And yeah, I'm already dreaming about what we're going to do next year. So I hope all of you, parents included, are kind to yourselves. Give yourself a break this summer. And I'm excited to work with you next fall. Thank you all.